My dear students, with this video, I will deal with you the introduction or the introductory part of the first lesson, resource and development of the class 10 standard geography subject related with the NCERT textbook. So let's go to the lesson. Now see what's said here. Can you identify and name the various items used in making life comfortable in our villages and towns? List the items and name the material used in their making. Here one question is given as your activity work. There you have to make a list of things which we are using, whether villages or the people live in towns or cities. All we have to identify the things. With the help of that things, we make our life comfortable. That list you have to make. Now next you see. Everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs, provided it is technologically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable, can be termed as resource. So it is a broad definition given in a very small manner to understand, to make you understand that what is resource. Simply we can say this resource is something which fulfill our needs, our want according to our wish. That is a simple definition of the resource. Anything which satisfy our needs, that is the resource. For example, this is a headphone I am using to explain this lesson. What is my need? I should make my voice clear while recording this video to make you understand this lesson. That is, I need headphone for clearance of my voice. So these headphones also one resource for me. For example, the pen. Everyday life we are using the pen. It fulfill our writing. So it is also a resource. Simply, now you are class 10 standard student, so you have to write a one broad definition. So here given that everything available in our environments, which are generally available in our environment, it is on the nature, which can be used to satisfy our needs. At the naturally available things satisfy our needs, means when we are using the things from the nature, that must be satisfy us. If not satisfied, then it is not termed as the resource. So characteristics should be there, it should be satisfy our needs. It is technologically accessible. What are the technology developed in the world or in our country India? So that technology should accessible to receive that resource. Economically feasible. Economic conditions should not matter, that every type of economic standard, whether rich people, whether poor, whether below average, that minimum resource which we need for satisfying our wants or need for the daily use, we should able to assess that resource. And culturally acceptable can term as the resource. And whatever our culture, that culture also should accept that is suitable for us. It does not harm our culture. That is termed as the resource. So hope, dear students, you now understand the term what is resource. So it is very easy, which can be used to satisfy our needs. Whatever we want, our willingness, our eagerness, that should be satisfied. And what should be the provided? And that thing should technologically accessible. economically feasible and culturally acceptable can be termed as the resource. Now you see here one diagram is there to show the human beings with this resource, because this lesson name is the resource and development, and for you it is not a new term, it is old term, because in class 8 also you study lots of about the resources that under the textbook resource and development. So in a broad way you got so many information in class 8 standard. Now see this diagram what reflect. In middle written there human beings, top written physical environment, that is the nature. Then you see left hand side technology and right hand side the institutions. It is a one triangle and that triangle connected the human resource. Human resource is connected with the physical environment, that is the nature, so it gives us the nature, then technology, then institution. Now you see interdependent relationship between nature, technology and the institution. How these three are interrelated with the human beings. All resources are free gift of the nature, isn't it? But we not get directly all the resource for our needs. It is free of cost because human beings using the technology to collect that physical environment where resources are lies, and that resources transform into the institutions according to our suitability. For example, if we say about the petrol, diesel, okay, for running bike, two-wheeler, four-wheeler, that things, if we want to drive for scooty also, so we need petrol or diesel, because some engines are run by the petrol and some engines are run by the diesel. So these two are the product of the petroleum, and petroleum also given us by the nature, that is the physical environment in a free of cost, because we no need to pay the money to our nature. It dig from the ground and extract the petroleum, and when it is purified in a blast furnace, then we are getting the different type of product, petroleum product. So human beings with their knowledge extract petroleum from the nature. How? With technology, because that without technology we cannot take out that petroleum from inside the earth. So for it technology is required. Now institution, how related you see? In an institution or an industry, in a blast furnace, that petroleum, which is also known as the crude oil, that petroleum is purified and it's making the different types of petroleum product. For example, diesel, petrol, kerosene, wax, then again detergent and perfume, so many products, talcum powder also using in petroleum product. So this way physical environment, technology, institution interrelated with the human beings to make accessible of the different types of natural resources which we are used to fulfill our needs according to our wants, which is economically feasible, culturally acceptable, and it is technologically accessible. Hope you understand. Now you see next portion. The process of transformations of things available to our environment involves a interaction relationship between the nature, technology and institutions. Human beings interacted with the natures through a technology and create an institution to accelerate their economic development. Already these things I said. Here another thing is there, when with human knowledge in an institution that necessary resources is processed and transformed into the different products, then it can develop the economic standards of the people. How? You see, if in a chemical industry or in a petroleum refinery going to refine or purify the petroleum, that time needs the laborers or the workers, whether skilled labor or the manual labors. So when this process for purification of the petroleum process going on in an institution or an industry, that time lots of people are engaged and they are getting their wages according to their work. When they are getting the uses for their work, it's directly related to the economic development. That's why here said that institution to accelerate their economic development. The people who are engaged for work in institutions or industry for the purification or modification of the natural resources for according to human beings usability to make the qualitative product, it develops the economic standard of the people. Now see, after that what given? Do you think the resources are free gifts of nature as it is assumed by many? They are not. Resources are a functions of a human activities. Human beings themselves are a essential components of resources. They are transformed material available in our environment into resources and use them. These resources can be classified into the following ways. Here asks one question, is that resources are free of nature? Yes, nature doesn't take us from money. It is a free gift of nature. But while we are going to access or collect a resource from the nature, that time we should expend the money for the purification, for the collection, for the extraction of the natural product. And here said that human beings also a one essential human resource. Why? You see, every person's not a human resource. These points also you remember. Every persons are not a human resource, but human is considered as a human resource. For example, doctor treat the patient, human resource teachers making a future generations to give you the knowledge and make the doctor, engineer also constructions and all related with a different type. So it's an everything directly or indirectly related with the human resource. The human which is able to fulfill their needs, own needs, then society needs, then nations, then as a whole at last global needs, that human beings is considered as a human resource. But before becoming a human resource, at first have to fulfill own needs, then family needs, then society, then district, then state, nation, then at last it is a world asset. So after the development, one human being can also become the world asset or a world resource. But one point you always remember, that all human beings are not considered as a resource. Now see, what are the different classification given here, how the resources are classified. On the basis is of origin, biotic and abiotic. How? Where that resource is origin, on the basis of origin of the resource, there are two parts. One is biotic and another one is the abiotic. Number B, on the basis of exhaustibility, renewable and non-renewable. How that resources are exhausted in nature, means how that is for in a long-term process, in a continuous process, or it takes the millions time span. So on the basis of that exhaustibility, resources are again divided into two types, non-renewable and renewable resource. Next you see on the basis of ownership. whether that resource is owned by the individual or a community people or national or the international. Next one is the D. On the basis of the status of development, potential, develop, stock and reserve. On the basis of development of the resource also, there are the 4 categories. One is the potential resource, one is the developed resource, another one is the stock, and last one is the reserve. So next points I will explain in details in next video what are the different types of resources based on the different category. Now here is a one chart is given, so you carefully look what is shows in this figure. So it is related with the classification of different resources. Resources are broadly divided into UC, natural resource and human resource. So directly resources are mainly divided into the 2 types. One is natural, another one is the human. Means which resources we are getting from the natures or from the earth, that is termed as the natural resources. And the resource which is related with the human beings or we are extract from the human, that type of resource is known as the human resource. Now you see at first the what are the things, what are the different types of resources come under the natural resource. Here given natural resources divided into mainly the 2, that is the non-renewable and renewable. On the basis of renew process, that is the exhaustible nature. Renewable resources are again divided into 2 types. Continuous resource, for example, wind, water, etc. Continuous or the flow, wind, water. Second category is the biological, that is the natural vegetation, forest or wildlife. Also we can say that flora and fauna. Non-renewable resources are divided into again 2 types. One is recycle, that is the metals. Non-recycle, that is the fossil fuels. For example, coal, petroleum, etc. Coal we cannot recycle, petroleum we cannot recycle. It is takes the millions year to formation. Next category is the human resource. So under human resource, structure and institution. Next one is the quantity and quality. Structure and institutions means the industry where the human resources are formed. Educational institution have a great influence to create a human resource. Now next one is the human resource, again divided into 2 types. One is the quality and another one is the quantity. Quality is good, then it is help the nations for development and it also help the economic growth of the nation. But quality is low, but quantity of the human is more, than it is not good. It decreases the economic development. That's why on the basis of the nature of the human resources are divided into these 2 categories, quantity and quality. So dear students, hope you understand this introductory part of the resources, what is resource and what are the different types of resource. So next video I am going to explain what are the different types of resources with their definition and example.